Take me to another place where the fairy tales don't end. Magical, magical land. Magical, magical land. To another place where the fairy tales don't end. Magical, magical land.
Let's welcome today's guest. He's a South African entrepreneur, experienced design director of Apure Game. Please welcome to the show, Yusuf Abrahams. Tell us a bit about yourself. Where do you come from? What are you doing? How do you go through your life?
So I'm currently staying in Johannesburg, South Africa. I've been staying here now for the past 10 years. I relocated from Cape Town, where I was born and where majority of my family is still at the moment. So I relocated in January 2010 without any job, just with my university degree, papers, diploma, birth certificates, ID document, and that was it. And I came here on a limb just looking to tackle the big city. And I was unemployed for 3 months, knocking on every door. And then one of the big ad agencies in Johannesburg gave me an opportunity. And from there, that's when I just grew from strength to strength. And one of my key advantages was because of my curiosity that has gotten me to where I am today. Yeah. And I started my business in 2014 as a side hustle. I was working a 9 to 5, and then I started the business just from a creative perspective, just as a creative outlet, because I wasn't doing that work in my 9 to 5. So I thought I needed some sort of venture where I could be creative, learn new things. Yeah. And there was a company that gave myself and my business partner the opportunity to give us the confidence to actually register the business and get the ball rolling. And it was in 2018, the year we met, where I decided, let me go full time into this business and put all my eggs into this one basket. And yeah, it's been on the trajectory. It's just been moving up and up, and I'm grateful for the opportunities. So I'm a co-founder of Apure Game. It's a digital product studio where we use curiosity and empathy to build, to make good products great, as well as I'm a co-founder of a insights platform, number one investment tool in Africa. It specializes in private equity and venture capital news that's happening on the continent. So a lot of our user base uses the platform to see deals, mergers and acquisitions. So everything that's happening within the continent, whether it be tech, agriculture, biotech, so any industry. Yeah, so that's been where I've been focusing most of my time, was those two entities. And really excited to see where the next few years hold. And I always use my curiosity as my key differentiator, because like I said, it's what got me to where I am today.
How was it like going from an employed state into your own business, like taking the decision in 2018 to switch fully?
I think the decision was when the juggling, you could see when you're juggling between the 9 to 5 and the side hustle, that the side hustle is not going to grow unless you give your undivided attention. And that's where I had to cut the umbilical cord and say, I'm going to leave the security of the 9 to 5 and put all my attention and eggs into this empire that I want to build for me and my family. And that was the deciding factor, was I need to go all in. Because if I don't go all in, I'm never going to know. And it's always going to be at the back of my mind, like, what if? And I didn't want that. So I just decided it's now or never. And that was the year my wife fell pregnant as well. So that there's a lot of trials and tribulations that go with that. So it was interesting. And I mean, I came out stronger than ever. So grateful for that opportunity. And I'm also, how can I say, very restless where I constantly need to be doing new things, constantly, and I get bored very quickly. So you can say I've got ADHD in the business world, where I'm always trying to see new things, new opportunities, and the only way to do that is if you're doing your own thing.
Yeah, 100% agree. It's the same for me.
So it's trial and error.
Yeah,
learn, iterate, and continue. If it's working, it's working. If it's not working, move on and pivot.
Yeah.
And that's why I keep my team agile as well, because of those very reasons. Is because what I like about the field that I chose is because I get to work with people, technology, and design. So those are the three key elements that I'm fascinated about.
How was it? It's like I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs and they say, yeah, I saved up like a year of money to be able to do that step in a safe way. And I was like, for myself, I was having as well a little bit on the side that I will be able to survive for a certain time. How was it for you?
Reality was that I did not have any savings for that. And my wife and I sold both our cars. But I mean, that money only lasts you so long. Like they always say, you should have savings for 3 months. Things don't take 3 months to happen. I mean, you can talk to a business and set up a contract. That contract is only going to come into fruition in 6 months.
Yeah.
And you're lucky if you get paid on that 6 months. So yeah, whenever they say you need a savings buffer of 3 months, I call bullshit. Because you never know. It's like, how long is a piece of string?
Yeah.
It's just, you have to just keep on looking ahead, and nothing stifles your creativity more than worrying about money.
Oh yeah.
Nothing. Like you get into that zone where it's very important not to fall into that dip where, oh shit, how are my bills going to be paid at the end of the month? So it's a juggling act. It's definitely a juggling act where you need to keep your head, keep your eye on the prize, and just focus.
How did you earn your first money at that time?
So, like I said, because we had that client that gave us the confidence in 2014 to build a product, we built a relationship with them, and I mean, to this day, they are one of our biggest clients. And there was some money, that there was no money. So it was just making do and being able to start from ground zero. And I think that's what a lot of people are scared of, is ground zero.
Yeah.
Because what is my friends going to say? What is,
Yeah.
You went from this car to that car, you went from this house to that house. So scaling down in order for seeing the bigger picture is important. Because I mean, like I'm touch wood, I've been at the bottom. So for me, I'm not scared of the bottom anymore.
Yeah.
I know what it feels like.
Yeah.
It's made me fearless. In the sense that like I can take on anything now, because I know the risk and the reward outweigh each other.
Yeah. And there at least in my experience, it's like there are things which are not necessary. Like there's so 100%. Much stuff out there which 100%. Costs money, which you don't really 100%. Need. So
100%. And it's important to go through that.
Yeah.
That stage where you actually like reevaluating. Do I need that gym contract of $100 a month?
Yeah.
Yeah,
the same.
It's starting from a fresh and just working your way up again. So like I said, it's iterative and it's constantly changing, and just being agile as a person, because it's something that I had to teach my wife as well, is that kind of mindset, which was also a challenge, because it's personal and it's business.
Yeah.
Because you have to make your family understand, like, the reason you're doing this is for the bigger picture.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's for us, it was the same. It was a family decision, not just my decision.
100%.
Doing that, yeah.
and now you throw a baby into a mix. Ooh.
Yeah, I know what
It's a
you talk
different
about.
story. It's a different story, and it's something you can't Google, you can't read about. It's something you have to just go through on your own.
Yeah, yeah. That's cool. I even still have my Excel table where basically, okay, what is the minimum amount we can survive on? It's like
100%.
that's like
100%.
the minimum. It's like take out gym, take out everything that's fancy. What is the minimum you can still survive on? It's like rent, all these kind of things, and then you can still say, okay, that's like situation today. We could move into a different place. We could do this. We could do this. So you can still lower that. And it's quite interesting for us. That was, I think it was from that time, it was basically easy half the money I was earning somewhere in a corporation. Easily half of that.
I mean, we never had a car for 18 months.
Yeah.
We were using Uber.
Yeah.
I mean, when my wife was in labor, we went to the hospital in an Uber.
That's cool.
and I mean that there we saved on the servicing of the car, financing, all of that, and it was a big learning curve, and it's something that to this day I don't see the need for owning two cars. Like a family can do with one. I mean, I'm still to this day very happy to sit behind an Uber or sit in the back of an Uber because I get to do more work or focus.
Yeah, that's so cool.
So,
what did it make to you as a person, like in your private life, changing from being in the corporate to be on your own?
It made me, like I said, fearless. As in, like as a creative, you're always suffering from imposter syndrome. That's one of the things that we always have to try and overcome, because you always, am I worthy of saying this, or am I worthy of putting out this piece of design? Like, do I know enough? And that's one of the things that I've overcome as an entrepreneur, because like when you're in a boardroom, there's a reason you're in that boardroom. You were not invited for just because. You were invited because you know something that can add value to that discussion. So that's sometimes things that we don't often do is pat ourselves on the back and say, like, you're worthy of being in that space. And that's what I've learned from being an entrepreneur, and it's definitely gone into my personal way of living as well. Is that fearless element.
What I love is as an entrepreneur, especially when you're in a small setting, that's basically you get all the rewards, but you as well get the shit at the same time. So which then for me at least accelerated my learnings. Like you do mistakes and you do everything yourself, or like you coordinate, orchestrate it with your peers around you, and then it's kind of the speed I gained in all this stuff when I doubled down, it's so different than working in a corporation. It's huge.
No, completely. And one of my mantras is that you need to be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Like 100%.
You need to. And like, you are the person that if you don't make that call, nothing's going to happen. You're just going to be stagnant, and you're not going to progress to the next level. And even my biggest lesson was with regards to payment as an entrepreneur. Just because you're doing the work today doesn't mean you're going to get paid on Friday. And that's one of the biggest lessons you have to learn. Is that you're not gonna, things don't happen as quickly as you thought it would. Things take time. And relationship building, like the sales cycle can take almost a year.
Or even longer, depending on what.
Or even longer, depending on how big it is. And you just have to nurture that, and that patience is humbling.
I'm not good at that at all.
Exactly. We want it tomorrow.
Yesterday.
Why is it not happening tomorrow?
No, but that's for me one of the things where I really focus on as well when I'm coaching others, is like focus on giving, not taking. Like,
100%.
Really, it's like, how can I support the people around me? How can I support the network? How can I support possible potential clients, but not always with a way of thinking, hey, this could be a client, this could be a client. Of course, you need to build a systematic way of approaching new people and approaching your network. But if you only think about how can I extract money,
completely, you're not going to go far.
Exactly.
Yeah. And the thing is, like I said, money is an energy. It will come. You know, and the thing is, like, you just have to maintain that value that you're bringing to the table.
Yeah,
like this is how I can assist you based on my skill set.
So talking about failures, I know that's what nobody is talking about, or not publicly. What do you have any fun fact failure you did where you learned a lot about?
Like I said, with regards to the money element, knowing that, and that was always in my mind, if I do something today, I'm going to get paid within the next 3 days. And I think that was the biggest failure from my side, in the sense that there's things that need to be paid. There's also people that are involved that helped you on a specific project. So having that buffer for those kind of elements or projects is very important and vital. So, like, one thing is moving from freelancer to business owner is that if you doing everything, there's only a certain amount of things that you can do. So you're limiting the growth of your business. So that was also a big lesson and takeaway for me, because I'm so attached to the quality of the work that it was a hard lesson to let go. You know, like they say, if you love them, set them free. So I just had to learn to delegate. And for me, that there was a lot of failure in there as well, because you trust people, and people are people. Things happen. And you always expect people to have the same enthusiasm as you on projects that you bring to the table, but it's not always the case. And for me, it was learning those key lessons is working with people and being able to delegate, because you can't do everything. You're going to hit the ceiling. So, for example, you're going to cap your business at $100,000 because you're doing everything, and in order to take it to $500,000, you're going to need more people in order to get you there. And for me, that was the biggest lesson.
It's quite interesting. For me, it was the opposite around, because I was in a management position. I basically started like, I want to delegate, but there is no one to delegate.
No, but that's important.
What was good is, like, I needed to figure shit out first. Like, I built my own website and all this kind of, like, really bootstrapping my way through it, getting the first customers in, and then I have seen that I'm limiting myself, and then I basically built up the system that allowed the growth and as well the things happening afterwards. But it's still, I know all the different topics still myself, and that's for me one of the keys as well. I don't need to be super good in everything.
Just high level.
Exactly.
Understanding.
You need to understand how this works, how the system works, how the different pieces plug into each other, and then you can basically figure that out and delegate it to the system that's then making the magic happen.
Yeah, and also, especially in the technology space, people are going to hit you with a lot of buzzwords. And like, wow, what, and it's just going to go over your head. So it's important that you have a high level understanding, because that's just how the nature of the space. Is that they're going to tell you the algorithm does not match with the machine learning and the design thinking, so they're going to hit you with all these buzzwords. So it's important that you like you said, you have an understanding of each element within your business.
What do you think entrepreneurs, I mean, I haven't been in South Africa myself, but what do you think entrepreneurs from outside of South Africa could learn from South Africa or from the African continent?
I would say our perseverance and just sticking to your guns and seeing it through to the end. I think the South African, they know, because of our past, we know what it's like to fight for what we want. So just having that willingness to see it through to the end.
Mm.
And it will fall into place if you have all your stars aligned and you are doing what you need to be doing. Because you can't expect to be doing nothing and have great reward. You have to be in the trenches, putting in the work, meeting who you need to meet. Yeah.
That's cool. Moving from entrepreneurship a bit more towards innovation. What is innovation for you, and how do you connect the dots of innovation?
For me, innovation is having the ability to be agile within an environment. And for me, it's closely linked to creativity. Because if you're creative, you'll be able to problem solve any problem that comes your way. And with innovation as well, it's applying a lens to a certain problem and seeing what tools you've got in your tool set that you can use to solve that specific problem. So for me, innovation is a lens, it's a problem solving lens that allows you to dissect a specific problem and see what elements you can deconstruct and put together to solve that specific problem. So for me, that's innovation.
What do you see is not working when, like, with clients of yours or with companies you work with in other companies? What's not working with innovation? Or
collaboration. Collaboration. I think still a lot of things are being done in silos. And it's when you bring everybody to have a seat at the table that things can move forward in the right direction. And that's talking with regards to the inclusivity as well as the diversity. Because you have this, say for example, as a CEO, you think that this is a problem that needs to be solved as a business. But do you have enough insight or know-how on that specific problem? Do you have your feet on the ground? Say for example, you're solving a problem for someone in a rural area. Can you as a CEO empathize with that person to understand this is the daily struggles that they're currently having? So that's what I'm saying. It's important to have everybody sitting around the table that can contribute and collaborate to making a good solution. Because for me, you can't expect to solve a problem with just one way of looking at it. There must be multiple ways, because then you don't know the problem well enough if you're looking at it from one way.
No, I agree. And that's what I've seen or still see with a lot of corporations, especially the bigger ones. Like, as bigger they get, as harder it is, because they're always thinking in silos. And everyone is speaking about it in the organization, but it's never going to deconstruct it in a way that it's working. At least I haven't seen good ways so far. Yeah,
and that's the challenge.
Yeah.
That's always the challenge, is how do we get everyone to have a seat at the table and have a voice and collaborate. And that's also one of the things that I constantly need to demyst, is just because you cannot draw doesn't mean that you're not a creative.
Yeah.
It's just a way of thinking.
Yeah,
it's just a way of thinking, you know? It's just because I can't draw your face perfect doesn't mean I'm not creative.
Yeah. Going into the innovation world of Africa. So you said, like, you're working with is it a network where you like show what's going on in the investment world in Africa?
So it's a platform that highlights all the deals and investments that's happening on the continent.
So what do you think is moving right now in innovation in Africa? Where should the world outside of Africa look to?
There's a lot happening within the agricultural space, and there's a lot happening within the fintech space. I mean, our fintech solutions is rated top of class on a global scale. So there's a lot of, and the reason for that, there's majority of the people on the African continent are unbanked.
Yeah.
So how do we have the transfer of funds across borders? Because there's a lot of people that are, say for example, working in South Africa and that have got families across Africa. So how are they able to send out money home and things like that? So there's a lot of innovation happening within the banking fintech sector, and like I said, agriculture as well. That's one of our biggest resources as a continent. So there's a lot of innovation, and there's a company that we work with in Malawi as well that has a lot of hardware, being tractors and things like that. But they're moving now, because of COVID, into the more software side of things, where they're using drone technology for crops, and that there's a lot in that space that excites me as well.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. Going back to what you said, it's like when you have a problem, then you will figure it out. That's basically what it is. If you don't have a banking system that's working across a continent, then you figure it out.
Yeah, and that's one thing about Africans. We're very innovative. We're very innovative. We'll find a way.
Yeah.
We won't just accept the current situation. We will find a solution.
And that's often quite different in other cultures, or let's say other continents, where you have given everything.
Completely. So you're spoiled.
Yeah.
You don't know what it is to not have. Yeah. And when you don't have, you know how to compromise and find solutions.
Yeah. That's quite interesting thinking. I talk a lot to like just my friends and so on. And I said, earning money is not a problem if you want to create your own business or want to be an entrepreneur. It's like earning money to survive is not a problem at all. It's just you need to be willing to put the work in. You need to be willing to find a problem you can solve for others. Completely. But
the thing is also finding that problem. Yeah. But I always say, look at yourself first.
Yeah.
What do you want to solve for yourself? And I can guarantee you there's more than 10 people that have that same problem. Yeah. So start always with yourself. If you're looking to take that big step, and leave the comforts of the 9 to 5.
Yeah. Now it's quite interesting to see that then as well, that at least speaking about Germany, where I'm living right now, like a lot of people are not doing it because it's too comfortable in the 9 to 5.
Completely.
So you're protected on like basically until you retire in a lot of companies. So there's no really urge and itch which gives you to, it's like everyone, like there are a lot of people saying when you leave 9 to 5 and build your own business, then you're working 24/7. Which is in a way,
you're always on.
Yeah, which is in a way true. But it's for me, I'm working way less because for me, it's not like 9 to 5 and then I'm working. I can go running whenever I want. I can do this whenever I want because I'm just allowing it to me.
Yeah. So but the thing is that's also your input contributes to your output.
Exactly.
As an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
What you put in is what you're going to get out.
Yeah.
So if you want to sleep the whole of today, then you can't expect at the end of the month to making bank. What would you say was your biggest takeaway from your ex-employers that you are currently applying now in your businesses?
For me, it's like the biggest takeaway is more how slow a large corporation is, and where I'm now saying, I see this in all large corporations as well. All large corporations I've worked with, and that's why I'm looking as well. How can I either support large corporations in doing that, or as well saying where I'm going into is like I don't want to work with the biggest corporations anymore because it's too slow for me. It's my way of thinking doesn't work, or I work with the top level of the executives and saying, how can we make that happen? Rather than fighting my way through an organization, which is a lot of pain for me. I might get paid well, but I don't get energy out of it at all because I've played that game. So
and how do you think you can move that wheel to move faster?
So in a large corporation, for me, it's only you need to build a completely different structure. You need to change the structure to be able to do this. Like you said, when you have different silos you work in, it will never change. So you need to change the structure, need to change the incentive structure as well, not just the physical structure of hierarchy, as well the incentive structure, what you measure, like you said, what you measure gets done, and then changing it. And that's long term, but you need to do this in a fairly fast way, especially in the beginning, that everyone gets on board and gets over this big change. And
but I think it's going to be the biggest challenge is to find that champion within the business that will say, let's deconstruct and start from ground zero.
Yeah, and that needs to start with, like, depending on the company structure, but management board, supervisory board. These guys need to decide that and say, okay, we will make a loss.
Down.
Yeah, we will make a loss in a short-term perspective, but then we will win. And that's especially in the time where we are in. It's like 2020, end of 2020, COVID lockdown 2.0 in most of the countries.
And I'm seeing that a lot as well with those that are driving digital transformation within businesses. They are always the most hated people at the beginning.
That's true. Yeah.
And then, but it's like you said, it's for the long term. You're going to hate it now, but it's going to be a massive impact for the business in the future.
Yeah.
Because now if you're not digital in the next 3 years, your business will be redundant.
Yeah. Most of the business will be. I mean, there's always two ways. Like I'm a strong believer of physical business as well. You need to have both perspectives, but I think that's exactly, you need to have both. If you're just offline, you need to find what can you do online to support your business offline. And then offline will be changed. If you take a retail store, for example, that will change going forward. They will and they are already going into way more experience driven, and it's like really, really focused on the customer. And then they sell the stuff, like more the mass production will be online. And then the physical.
Would you consider your clothing business your offline element?
No, that's still online.
Still online, okay.
Yeah, because I'm not having a store or something.
Okay.
And that's for me. I've decided for myself that I will be a remote first company in every business I do. I don't want to be a physical business in a way that, like, I need to have a huge office building. I need to have this, like a store or whatever. Not saying that I will never have it, but it's more the initial setup is always like agile. I can work from, it's like you said, it's like, I can work from everywhere in the whole world, and my teams can work from everywhere in the whole world. Like, I have one person in Germany, one in Portugal, another one in Canada working with me right now, and the US. So it's like 4 people who are working with me on a day-to-day basis as part of my support system, and it works. For me, it's rather, I want to work with the best people in what I need them for, rather than saying, I'm living here and in this area, there's no one who can do that, so I will not do it.
And I think that's what 2020 brought us.
Yeah,
was the ability to be global.
Yeah,
as a business, so you can have a presence in every continent.
Yeah. Now, to our earlier discussions, like, I'm living in Germany and I'm not marketing anything in German. Like, I'm not considering even long term to build my business fully into the German culture and into Germany, because I'm focusing on global. That's
interesting. That's very interesting. And did you know that before?
No.
Or was this a recent discovery?
No, it's more because I've been living abroad the whole time.
Okay.
So it was a conscious decision for myself that I don't want to limit myself to the German market, and it's still a huge market. So don't get me wrong on that. But
from a family perspective,
no,
would your daughter go to school in Germany, or would it be online?
We don't know yet. She's 3-year-old now, but I
have you not thought that far yet?
No.
Okay.
I mean, it's 3 years to go, and if I just look back, what happened the last 3 years? Like, we moved
completely.
2 times.
That's completely, and it's only going faster.
Yeah. So I rather, so I really look forward into a perspective that we can live wherever we want to in that point in time.
Completely.
And my businesses will enable us to do that. So if we decide we go to South Africa for a year, we can do that. If we decide to go to Australia or to the US, to Canada, wherever, we can do that from a system perspective. And that's more what I want to allow our family as well, to give our daughter the best opportunity she can get, and as well a rich culture understanding. Because I see a lot how narrow the German culture is, and being German myself, coming back after 6 years outside, you see how much here, like even just being here now for 4 months, like my views going narrow because you are inside the culture, which is normal. But that's one of the reasons I as well decided is like keeping it international. Even not doing it in German will not drag me more from a business perspective. And because I'm like, we're talking every week, I talk with others every week who are not German, or mostly not German. I basically don't have really Germans to talk to every week. So that will always drag me up, because I'm a big believer of this. You're the average of the 5 people you spend most time with.
Completely.
If you expose yourself to different cultures, you will learn from the different cultures, and you will get more rich understanding of the world and what's going on. And that will help me to do the best job for my clients, and as well from a family perspective will give us a rich understanding of how the world is, not just, hey, I've seen the news which are broadcasted for one specific culture, and then you understand a little bit of that little bit. If you're a global citizen, you understand things from different perspectives. You understand what's going on.
And that's one of the biggest reasons why I decided to do what we're going to do next year. Is exactly what you're saying. Is from that multicultural perspective, and having my son see different ways of living and meeting new people. I mean, he doesn't just have to have friends in South Africa. He can have friends across the globe. And I mean, he can know different things, and giving him that opportunity to see the world, because I mean, the world is meant to be traveled and to be seen,
like it was the last couple of 100 years.
Completely. So why? And that's also like, and the thing I enjoy about that is because it also doesn't attach you to material things.
That's
because true. Now, because you've got a house, now you need to stay here for 20 years because you need to pay that house. No. I hate that concept.
That's super German, by the way.
No, and that's South African as well. So you buy a car, you buy a house, and for me, that's not a level of success. That doesn't determine how successful you are, the type of house or car that you drive. So I want to break that mentality for my son. Is that there's more to life than that.
Yeah, that's true, and that will be huge of benefit for him, and he might even not realize that over the next 10 or 15 years.
He's gonna see it way in his adulthood. You'll understand the. So it's interesting,
and I think that's also like in the project we do together with the young entrepreneurs. That's also one of the things. Which enriches these young entrepreneurs in doing a business together in a completely different way, where you bring them together with different perspectives, and then you just see that they're talking the same thing, but they don't understand each other because they're coming from different culture backgrounds, and then it's kind of they're navigating their way through, and then it's slowly getting to understand each other, and then it's like, if they start to nivelating, or however you said that in English, it's like, hey, now they understand each other because they both took a step into the other culture and understand.
And it's also forcing them to know their shit. Because if you can't communicate it, then you don't know it enough. So it's and I can see that with a lot of the discussions. Like you said, they're trying to say the same thing, but it's how they're saying it. That's causing them to clash slightly. but I think it's very interesting, and I think there's a lot that we can learn from Gen Z, especially with what we're trying to do now, with what we spoke about, the global, moving our families to different countries. And that's the way that they think. It's exactly the way they think. It's all about purpose-driven companies that they want to work for. Not really about the money to them. And they're more about having project-based work instead of fixed. Which is I think it's a good way of looking at life.
So if you would open a new company, let's say you have tons of money, you would open a new company which can impact everyone in the whole world. What would the business be?
That's a very good question. I would, for me, like I said at the beginning, my curiosity was what got me here. So having a place or platform to teach that to people, I think is so important, because I mean that curiosity just keeps you asking, why is this happening this way? Is there anything that I can do to change it? And it keeps you just interested in various topics. And I think the more people are interested and have knowledge of what's happening around them, the better their lives could be. Because there's a lot of people that are walking around with blinkers and they're just taking things for the way they are. But if you're curious, you would question everything. And I think, and it's not a bad thing. It's just being interested, And I think if I can create some platform or corporation that just focuses on driving curiosity within people, that would be my life's work complete.
That's cool.
And yourself?
I'm basically on the journey already.
And what is that?
No, for me, the whole thing is like, how can you change the world through the language of business? So how can you empower people to open their own business, to build businesses that will change the world, and then together, kind of with the different networks you build, change the world to be a better place for our kids. And tackle like climate change and all these things, because I'm not a fan of only doing it through politics. There is 100%. A place of politics, and that's needed, but I think
that serves its purpose.
The language of business and success in that business is always the strongest, because people will listen to you differently if you're, let's say, just give an example, if you're Amazon or Google, or if you're a small company like mine right now. So you can always change the business. So in a local setting, I'm a successful company. So you have in a local area, you have the possibility to influence things. Then you grow, then you can do this on a country level. Then you grow and you can do this in a European continent level or wherever. And then you can do it on a global level. So that's why I think like through business, you have a lot of possibilities in changing the world, but it's also, I mean, you as well have a lot of responsibility doing it in a way that it's good for the future. It's good for humanity and so on. And that's a bit where I want to give back all the learnings I've had over the last 24 years now working, like helping others to build businesses that are long-term successful, and as well help them to fulfill their dreams with that. That's the whole thing.
Okay. Yeah. And how long do you think it's going to take you?
I'm on that.
How are you currently measuring success?
So the main success for me is the relationships with the people I work with. And that's like direct clients, but also like we and the network, where it's like I see them growing, which means growing as a person, growing with their businesses, and that's success for me. If I was just a tiny little bit part of that success, that's success for me in the same way.
Okay.
And that's one of my biggest criteria, because if I can, for example, empower you with your businesses to grow through a little bit of support from my perspective, then you will change the world in a different way. So it's also success metrics I can kind of bank for myself. That's not monetary. It's more from a feeling perspective right now. But
purpose.
That's more where I see that's the biggest topic for me.
Okay.
And I will.
It's exciting.
100%. It's super.
It's very exciting.
Now we'll most probably set even more businesses up which are going into that direction. So how can you orchestrate that in a better way, which is not dependent on myself? So it's more network thinking.
Do you ever think you would unplug from all these businesses? Like you said, they would be self-sufficient. Do you think they would ever come a stage like that?
Long-term goal is that it's not dependent on me, because I don't want to be the guru of something. It for me, it's more like building it up to a level that's self-sustaining, and that's moving into the direction that it's as well. It's like growing on a faster speed, which I most probably will not be the right person to do long-term perspective.
Okay.
I'm more the one who is getting things up and running and having fun with that part.
And I think that's also one of the biggest lessons as an entrepreneur is that you shouldn't be the smartest in the room.
No, exactly. No, I'm definitely
when you're building your team, and that's why for me collaboration is such an important aspect of my business, is because you don't know everything.
No.
And you will never know everything. So it's important to have different opinions and different viewpoints.
Yeah.
Because that just helps you to grow as a business and as a person.
Yeah. That's why I encourage so much on building networks, and it's not necessarily like real partnerships where you write contracts. It's more about like, how can you help each other? How can you learn from each other just by exchanging? And that can be from a personal perspective. Hey, how do you manage this? Like, I'm working from home. I can't do this. I don't know how to do that. How did you do this?
Yeah.
Like on that level, really having an exchange.
And it's also breaking that mental model of keeping your cards so close to your chest, because a lot of people are still very fearful.
Yeah.
Like Jens, if I tell Jens my idea, he's going to steal it.
Which I will never.
And the thing is, like I always say to people, someone can take your idea from A to B or A to D.
Yeah.
They don't know how to take it to Z. And that's what's in your head.
Yeah.
You know how to take it to Z. So I can do exactly what you're doing, but I'm going to take it to D. Yeah. So, and I'm also not going to be doing it for the right reasons, because it's not a passion of mine.
Yeah.
So, so that's why I keep telling a lot of businesses would like, please sign this NDA before I whisper anything. But I'm like, I can copy this, irrespective if I sign this document.
Yeah.
But I'm only going to take it from A to C, for example.
Yeah. Now that's a huge topic in innovation as well, because for me it's like, if you're able to do things faster and better than me, then fair enough, then it's good. Because for me it's more the impact we do in the world with what I'm after. It's not about I'm getting rich. I don't care about money. So if you're more thinking about that, then why shouldn't I share?
Completely.
Like I'm sharing with a lot of people what I'm going to do next month, and it's even not launched yet. But why not? If they can do it better, then they should do it.
The bit,
It's absolutely.
And you're moving closer to your goal.
Exactly,
of empowering.
Exactly. So I'm sharing 99.9% really what's going on and where I want to be and how I'm going to do that. It's changing so fast that most of the people will anyhow not be
able to keep up.
Not willing to keep up. It's more
willing to.
It's a lot of effort as well to stay in the game and move things so quickly and not just slow down and say, now I'm going to do this the next 20 years and settle down.
And that's what I love about the technology space. It's because every week is different. So it keeps you on your toes. It keeps you on your toes, and you need to be constantly learning. Because if you don't learn, you're going to fall off.
Yeah, agree.
And you're going to be left behind. And and that's also another thing for me. It's our jobs as these digital evangelists to take the people around us with, because the divide is getting so big because of the rapid change. So it's important to empower those around us.
Yeah,
knowledge.
You mentioned the other day, like you have been supporting local schools, was it?
It was tutoring. So it was lecturing, guest lecturing, and that's also just one way of me giving back to the community, in the sense of that I know some information. I don't know everything, but let me share that little knowledge that I know. And there's kids out there that are so hungry that don't have the opportunity to know that there's more to the workspace than the big five. So you don't have to just be a doctor, an accountant, a lawyer. There's more. Head of innovation. Like, who would have ever thought that's a job title? Data scientist, things like that. It's just empowering the youth to know that there's more out there.
No, that's really cool.
It's a way of me just giving back.
And I think that's one of the key things I do as an entrepreneur as well. I'm looking really into how can I teach others, how can I give things back the whole time.
Yeah.
Because it helps you to think differently when you explain things to other people.
Completely.
Which then helps you to up your game.
Yeah.
That's
because you'll quickly know if you've got enough knowledge on that specific topic or not when you verbalizing it and communicating it.
Yeah, agree. So slowly getting towards the end, where do you think will you be in a year from now?
Destination unknown, for sure. But from a business perspective, I just see myself helping more people or businesses on the African continent, because for me, my main focus of the business is to empower those on the continent before I go abroad, because there's a lot that can be done here still. There's a lot from an innovation perspective. Like it's a third world that we are living in, or continent that we are living in. So there's first world countries have reached the glass ceiling already, whereas in Africa we're still at the tip, and there's still a lot to be done. So I would definitely say in a year's time my footprint would be quite deep within the continent and quite widespread in the continent. So I've got a map at home where I'm actually marking off my presence. So
that's cool.
So I want to fill that map with all these yellow dots, sticky notes.
What are the sources you keep yourself up to date? Like, what are the things you read, listen to?
So for me, I listen to quite a few podcasts and Medium. If I've got time to read, then Medium is my go-to for trends and what's happening, and it's basically the topics that I'm following. So for me, technology, UX design, customer experience, those are topics that I'm quite passionate about. And also, like with regards to the podcast, it's quite global, and there's a lot of lessons that I can take from global businesses that I can apply to the local businesses that I'm working with. And that's also another thing that I enjoy about what I do, is that I work across various industries. So it's not just stuck on one industry, it's across. So like today I can be talking to car brand, tomorrow it could be a bank, the next day it could be a telecos. And what that entails is you having to research about these different industries, and there's a lot of cross-pollination that you can do.
True.
Which is very interesting.
True. So where can people find you? How can people reach out to you?
So you can find me on LinkedIn, Yusuf Abrams, as well as Instagram, and my Twitter has been quite dormant. So I promise to be more active next year. But for now, it's definitely LinkedIn and Instagram. And please, if you have any questions or if you just want to have a quick catch up on Zoom, please email me, yusuf@appyourgame.com.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Yusuf.
Thank you for having me, and I appreciate it, and look forward to what Jens has in store for us in 2021.
Thank you, Yusuf. Talk to you.
Cheers, man.
Take me to another place where the fairy tales don't end. Magical, magical land, magical, magical land. To another place where the fairy tales don't end. Magical, magical.